Bathsheba and Uriah, the moral failure of David, and if you remember, this was the case where David himself gave the verdict and gave the punishment. He himself said that the person who took the poor person, the sheep, should die and should pay for it. And for recognizing that he is a person and he did something which was a grave sin, Hashem said, Lo tamut. For the punishment of death that he actually decreed upon himself, Hashem said, you did tshuva, I accept it. But the for taking Bathsheba was already started to be fulfilled. Last perek, he lost his child. The baby that was the fruit of this prohibited love between David and Bathsheba died. And this was the first sheep for sheep, so to speak. And from here on, things are not going well in the house of David. And Perek Yud Gimel that we will start reading today is talking about the next two sheep that David lost. What I want you to do is to read this Ofel Perek, and I'll tell you how Ofel this Perek Yud Gimel is. Very interesting. You know that at the time of Chazal, every child learned Torah. They, like today, not always understood the words of the Torah, which are hard to understand. And therefore, there was a whole mechanism of Targum. Today, we don't know it unless you are a Yemenite Jew. Because the Yemenite Jews, until this very day, when they go to Shul on Shabbat, they never get to the Cholent. Because Kriyat Torah on Shabbat is exactly as it used to be at the time of Chachamim. Namely, reading the Pasuk and the Targum. Reading a Pasuk and a Targum. And this way it's going for a very long time. The nice and the beautiful thing is that they teach the children. I don't know today how many are doing it, but it used to be, that was the minhag of the Yemenite Jews when they were in Yemen, and until a few years ago in Israel. The children, so the Baal Koreh would read the Torah, which a boy cannot do, but then a boy, even under the age of 13, would say the Targum on the Pasuk. And this was the mechanism of teaching Torah to the children, and sometimes to the people themselves. There is a Mishnah who says that there are certain parshiyot that when we come to read, we don't translate them. They are rated R. They don't want the children to see what's going on. You know, most parshiyot are PG, and everyone can hear, but there are certain parshiyot that the Torah prefers to leave untouched, especially when it comes to the people who need translation. And this perek is one of them. Maaseh Amnon v'Tamar nikra. Yes, you read it when you teach Tanakh, but you don't translate it. Now, usually the translation was needed for people who were not highly educated, children, or people who did not learn, because otherwise, why you need the Targum? You can read it in the source. And for these people, Chachamim were concerned about this kind of stories. Eventually they will go home and they will tell their wife or their parents, don't ask what I learned today. This is awful, like Gilui Arayot in the family at Beit David. So Chachamim said, just let them hear. They will not understand anything, and that's good. So this perek, Chachamim preferred to keep away from the knowledge of the uneducated people. Now, I'm going to teach it, I'm going to translate it, because I hold you intelligent enough to deal even with something as awful as happened in this perek. So from here on, this was just an introduction that you are not going to be too shocked. I know that you are already shocked by Perek Yud Aleph and Yud Bet, but this is even taking it one step further. So please just buckle up and relax. So let's read from Pasuk Aleph to Pasuk Yudchet, including Pasuk Yudchet. Hopefully we will finish it today, and next time we will finish the second part of this perek. Nice story, eh?
Oh my God.
Okay. I want to read first the introduction of the Radak, Rabbeinu David Kimchi, who lived in the 14th century, to this perek, and he said the following: זה המעשה, this story, היה עונש דוד על מעשה בת שבע ואוריה. The whole thing was a result for this, what happened between David and Bathsheba and Uriah. שבעונש ההיא נעשית בביתו זימה הבאה לידי חרב. This story contains two issues that are in the essence of the story of Bathsheba and Uriah. What happened there? He took Eshet Ish, forget everything that I told you about, because at least as it was perceived, maybe halachically there were all kind of shtiks, but the way it was perceived, he took a wife to himself. Number one. So it's issue of Gilui Arayot. The second one, he killed Uriah. This story is going to contain these two elements. It's a story of Gilui Arayot between Amnon and Tamar, and it's going to end with Avshalom killing Amnon. So Midah keneged Midah. You, David, did something that included Gilui Arayot, immorality, you will get it back. You were involved in sending a person, an innocent person, to his death, your son is going to be killed. So, first of all, where the Radak took it? From the first two words. Vayehi אחריכם. The Tanakh itself is telling us that the story that we are going to read is אחריכם. After what happened, and it's not only chronologically, it's a follow-up of the story. Because the punishment is yet to come. And you, the reader, are going to read about it in this פרק. ויהי אחריכם. אבשלום בן דוד, אחות יפה ושמה תמר. She was beautiful. ויאהביה אמנון בן דוד. Now, question number one. What are the relationship between Amnon and Tamar? From what you read, what are the relationship between Amnon and Tamar?
Brother and sister.
Brother and sister. How do you, okay, have brother and sister. So what do you base your answer on? From the psukim themselves?
Emphasis of Avshalom ben David.
Right, Avshalom is the ben David. He had a sister, her name is Tamar. And if he's his sister, then it must be that she's also the daughter of David. Right? Normally in our family, many times, like brother and sister are also the siblings to the same parents. Or at least half of it.
Yeah.
Let's assume that maybe Tamar was half-sister. Now, obviously, we all know that even a half-sister, you cannot marry, according to the Torah. You cannot marry. It's family inside the family. It's part of the parasha of Arayot. Especially, I would say the following, if they are half brother and sister from the father. But you're right that if you read carefully the pasuk, nowhere you find that she was a daughter of David. It says that she was the sister of Shalom ben David. She was a sister of Avshalom. It doesn't say, as we would expect, Avshalom, the son of David, and Tamar, the daughter of David. It doesn't say. And therefore, they might be half brother and sister, not from David. Maybe when David took the mother of Avshalom, Ma'acha, she was already married, and she brought Tamar with her to the marriage. Possible. But again, the Abarbanel say, you know, this happened when he took her. It sounds like Tamar was younger than Avshalom. And apparently it happened already after David took her. So what exactly happened here? So in the spirit of what we talked about David and Uriah and Bathsheba, Chachamim come with a fantastic story, but not as fantastic as the stories before, that explain Pasuk Yud Gimel. Remember in Pasuk Yud Gimel, when Amnon come to her, and she tried to resist him from raping her, that's the only word to describe what happened. One of the suggestions that she suggests, Ve'ata daberna el hamelech, please talk to if you really want me, talk to the king, ki lo imna'eni mimeka. He's not going to prevent you from marrying me. So why should you do it this way? Talk to the melech, talk to the king, and he will give you me. Which means that she was allowed to marry him, isn't it? It was not inside the family. She wouldn't raise an advice or an idea that cannot be fulfilled. We see from this pasuk, she was allowed to marry him. How come? How come? So Chachamim come, and and said the following. What?
Because she's been the daughter of a handmaiden or something.
So, according to the pshat that I suggested, she might be completely unrelated to Amnon. As I said, maybe she was a daughter of Mr. Someone, Joe Schmo, who married Ma'acha, and they had a daughter by the name Tamar. Later on, David took Ma'acha. This was the name of her mother, and the mother of Avshalom, because they were brother and sister. And Amnon was a son of David and Achinoam Israeli. That we know from Perek Tet, I believe. So basically, they are not related. They grow in the same house because David took her mother, but Amnon, the son of David, and another woman had no family connection to Tamar, who is the daughter of someone that we don't know who he was, and Ma'acha. According to the Pshat, this is the best way to understand it, but I'll tell you what is the problem. Maybe you tell me what is the problem. Because according to this, they have no relationship except the fact that they live under the same roof. Because the families were united, right? But what is the problem here?
How could she be an Achot Avshalom?
Exactly. Every place in this perek, she's named Achoti.
Yeah.
For example, in Pasuk Yudalef, he said, Boy shichvi mi Achoti. Right? And there are few places here that he named her, or the Tanakh named her, the sister of Amnon. So all is very nice, but Achot means literally like family relationship, siblings in a way, half siblings or full siblings. So this is a problem that Chazal stood how to solve this issue. They came with an idea, a brilliant one. There is a parsha in the Torah that is called Eshet Yefat Toar. What is Eshet Yefat Toar? A Jewish boy is going to the army, and after they conquer the place, he see a beautiful girl. Soldiers, young soldiers, they saw so much death and ugly things, and eventually, like a flower in the desert, a beautiful girl, and the hormones are flowing all over. And the Torah knew that in a situation like this, as we know, unfortunately, soldiers sometimes cannot overcome their yetzer, after especially the connection between death and sex. It's a messy issue for soldiers. And the Torah made an exception to the rule. And the Torah brought the concept of Eshet Yefat Toar. If you go and see a beautiful woman, you can take her to yourself without even do the giur. And after the first time that you had a relation with her, then she has to stop 30 days and to convert her and to bring her to your house.
Isn't there something somewhere where the woman must shave her hair?
That's exactly the story. So after he did what he did because he was hot, so to speak, then the Torah said, okay, but you cannot go like this. Now we have to regulate it. She shave her hair, she grow her nails, she look ugly, so maybe he will give up on the whole idea. And if eventually he wants to marry her, then he marry her after conversion. But the Torah allow him. Chachamim were very disturbed by this idea. Very disturbed. And they call it mutav yochal נבלות שחוטות ולא טרפות שאינן שחוטות. The Torah knows that it's a nevela. This story is not a the highest peak of morality. But at the same time, the Torah knows like what's going on in a war. People are away from their home. Remember, the wars today are short, but sometimes wars are taking long time. He's away from his house. You know, he suffered so much. He see a beautiful girl, he take her, and we know unfortunately what happened in all armies. Unfortunately, the ones who are less civilized, after they take over a place. The case of rape is like almost a reward for the soldiers. That's today we live, Baruch Hashem, in a world which seems to be more civil, but this was the common thing everywhere. At the end of the Second World War, one of the big problems, the Russian soldiers who liberated Europe, you know, everywhere where they came, there were so many cases of raping. And when it comes to the Jewish community, it's a terrible tragedy sometimes. If they did not check if they were married or not married, and there were all kind of terrible cases. And, you know, interesting thing, very interesting thing. If you want to know how far the left can go, there is a professor in the Tel Aviv University who is so to the left, it's like scary. And she wrote about 6 years ago, she got her PhD. No, I'm not, yeah, this was her thesis for the PhD. Why the soldiers of Tzal are racists. Why? You might ask yourself. Well, listen to this. She found out that there, in every single war in the modern time, there was a certain percentage, depends on the army and the place, of cases of after-war raping. Except one unbelievable situation where it never happened. You did not hear after Milchemet Sheshet Hayamim or Milchemet HaShichur that the Jewish soldiers raped the Arab women. So what is the reason for that? They are more racist than even like willing to rape, like which is the normalcy. Now you might think that I'm like bluffing you. I'm telling you, you go over the internet, you will find their name. The PhD was made in Amsterdam, in the University of Amsterdam, and this was the chokhmah, unbelievable chokhmah of this lady. It's impossible that the soldiers of Tzahal are moral to the point that they have no intention to rape any Arab. The only reason is because they are Arabs. So, and the Israelis are so racist, so they don't want to rape even Arabs. Like, you understand? You are going to see something like this in this period, which is unbelievable. Sometimes, who said it? That some people can talk so many like nonsense that only intellectual can understand it, or something like this. Like, there is a say along this line that some people are like only highly intellectual people can understand certain nonsense. So. This is one of them. But, you know, this was the situation. The situation was that indeed things like this happened. So, yeah. So let's see what. So Chazal say that Tamar was a daughter of Eshet Yifat. She was born as a result of David was a conqueror, was a warrior, and he apparently was not that racist. And and when he came to Gshur, which is in the northern part of Israel, which is Syria of Ramat HaGolan, he met this beautiful woman, and he raped her or took her, and her daughter was Tamar. Now, why Chachamim say this fantastic story? Because that means that she was not Jewish. And if she was not Jewish at the time, even if she converted later, she had no connection to the children of David. because the halacha is that a convert basically lose his halachic relationship with his family. So here is the story. She was his sister. She was actually his sister from the same father. But halachically, they were not siblings. Because she was born when her mother was still non-Jew. And therefore, she has no relationship to her father and not to her siblings. Beautiful idea. I don't know how much it's true, but it's like halachically, it's like they what I call the halachic circus, you know, like where you can jump from unbelievable heights to another one and to do this like saltas and everything. So this is halachic salta. You know, 3 times in the air, and you came to the conclusion of Eshet Yifato. That's what the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin says. But the Abarbanel said, yeah, you know what, I don't like this idea at all. And this Abarbanel, it's not like a modern, you know, scholar who say the Chachamim are talking nonsense. He said, you know what, even if she was Eshet Yifato, at the end of the day, she was the daughter of David. It's like impossible to assume they grow in the same house, they live together, and everyone knows that basically she came from David. So the Abarbanel says something very interesting, that although maybe halachically Chachamim are right, but it's impossible to assume that inside the royal family, just because the halacha will allow Amnon and Tamar legally to marry each other, the fact that they grew together as brother and sister by itself make it impossible that, like, everyone thought that she can marry him. And therefore the Abarbanel suggests what you suggested, that indeed they came completely from different fathers and different mothers, which make it completely unrelated. Why the Tanakh call her Achot and Ach? Because that's what happened many times in families where young people grew together, even to different parents, and like in the same house. It's not a Gan Yeladim, it's a house of David. So eventually they came to all the royal events together as the children, the next generation of David and his wives, and they are going everywhere together. So they were, and Shabbos meal are together. So eventually they are like brother and sister. At least psychologically they refer to themselves as brother and sister.
Where in Tanakh do you see a similar situation where someone is called a sister but is sister and brother when they're really not? That seems a little far-fetched, what you're saying.
Wait a second. I would argue that because sometimes we know, for
Can't
example,
argue. I didn't. I'm
like
asking what the question is.
Sarah herself called Abraham her brother. Now, he was not her brother, he was uncle, but inside the family, where the family is very much united, then sometimes you name it, or you call it, or you refer to it as closer relationship. You know, sometimes, yeah, we know it, that sometimes, you know, people who came from 2 different families, especially after a tragedy happened and 2 families are united, and the children are little, and then over a few years they grow together, they will become kind of brother and sisters. And it will be more than odd if they are going to marry each other. It's like, I never heard about a case like this. Although halachically it's perfect, there is no problem.
Today, you know, you have, if someone is an adult, is very close to somebody's family, even if it's not an aunt, people say auntie is here, right? Or, you know, auntie so-and-so is here. Not a real aunt, but it's somebody that the family feels close to. This is auntie so-and-so, you know. So
I don't disagree. This is how it works. But show me in Tanakh where someone has used that term.
So?
Because
That's the first time.
that's a-
And this wouldn't be the first time that there was an only case in Tanakh of something.
And you know, I guess that the whole house of David, listen, there were more than 6 women there. They went, you know, in the afternoon to the Gina there, you know, in Ir David, together, and all the children are together, and they call kids, let's go home, and can you help your sister? Because it became like, you know, like one family.
He's an adult now. I'm surprised that David
took this seriously. This guy's lying there saying, oh, I don't feel well, I will need Tamar to come and make me something. Like, what is he, a creep? I mean, I
Okay,
said that he
yeah,
felt
we
it.
will talk about it in a second. We are not there yet. But you know, first of all, we have to understand better what was the real relationship. Was it really like completely Gilui Arayot, yes or not, or something that border on it? I just want to show you that maybe halachically here, again, the issue was a little bit more complicated than the IC, although it's not going to change the messages of the story. Okay, so that's what I try to do. So in Pasuk Bet, Vayetzer le'Amnon להתחלות בעבור תמר אחותו כי בתולה היא. So he found himself in an impossible situation. On one hand, he loved her like crazy. At the same time, what can he do? After all, he was like, she was like his sister at least, even if it, you know, according to the Pshat, she was Eshet Yifat Torah or whatever it is. It was very odd and creepy. You're right. So he didn't know what to do. And you know, it like...
Why does he say because she was a virgin? What's that got to do with anything? And if she wasn't, and if she went, you know, slept around already?
We are going to see why it was important.
Oh, okay. Seems strange.
Why it was important, because here is a situation. If she's virgin, someone, I mean, very soon, she will know and everyone will know that something happened between them, or her future husband. So you understand, like, he loves her, and he cannot have really relations with her because she is Betula. If she wasn't Betula, then no one will know. But here he's like trapped. She is Betula. He cannot do anything because everything that he will do will desecrate her as a Betula. And we are going to see the importance of it. Okay. ולאמנון רע, Amnon had a friend, ושמו יונדב, Ben Shim'a Achi David, a cousin. David had a brother, his name was Shim'a, one of the brother of David. He had a son, Yonadav. So Yonadav and Amnon are basically cousins, right? You see why, yes. The children of two brothers. ויונדב איש חכם מאוד. By the way, believe it or not, even about Shlomo, he doesn't say Ish Chacham Me'od. He's the only person in the Tanakh, I checked it today, I googled it. He's the only person that the Tanakh said Ish Chacham Me'od. Me'od. Apparently he was really smart. And we are going to see how smart he was.
The English translation is not smart.
Yeah, it says sly. Sly is different than smart.
Draco.
That's a
I
different
think
thing.
that translator did not like him. but I never heard like
But he did like
that Chacham is a sly. That's. I think that after he knew the story, he said, "Why? This is Chacham. This is awful." He must be like, okay. He changed a little bit. You see, that's the danger of translations.
He's
Right.
interpreting. He's interpreting based on.
Yeah,
His
like
action was sly.
But there's different ways of being very
It was
clever.
very sly.
what?
His action was sly.
Right. But the word Chacham means Chacham. And you know what? Maybe we will discuss it in a second because I think that there is a very profound message in this translation and what the Tanakh actually says. Yeah. In any case, first of all, he was apparently a very good psychologist. ויאמר לו, מדוע אתה ככה דל בן המלך בבוקר? It's just the morning time, you know, people don't have so many troubles. Normally, when do we get trouble with the day? Like in the afternoon, where we gain enough experience to annoy us. But like in the morning, say Modehani, you know, the birds are singing, the sun is shining. Why to be so disturbed? And he saw that already in the morning he's really disturbed. Alot tagid li, please tell me, we are good friends. ויאמר לו אמנון, את תמר אחות אבשלום אחי אני אוהב. You see again, he doesn't say my sister, אחות אבשלום אחי אני אוהב. So apparently Yonadav understood what's the problem here. What's the problem? So if he loves her and he cannot do anything, so he's depressed. He's depressed. So Yonadav come with an idea. שכב על משכבך והתחל. You know, today students sometimes they don't want to do the test, they stay at home. But
No.
here,
Really? They do that now?
sometimes, yeah, believe it or
I
not.
thought we only did it.
And some of them even stay at home and then they ask their friends what was on the test. Do you believe that? So, so he tells him, שכב על משכבך והתחל, make yourself like pretend that you are sick. ובא אביך לראותך. You see how, he was really sly, but I don't think that this is a חוכמה.
No.
So he had to disguise it. Because he cannot say to his sister, my sister, I'm so sick, please come and visit me, because it will look very creepy. But if the father is coming, that's normal, that father come to see his sick son. ואמרת אליו, תבואנה תמר אחותי, my sister will come, ותברני לחם, and she will make me some bread. ועשתה לעיניי את הביריה, and she will make it in front of me. למען אשר אראה, ואכלתי מידה, because I want to see what she's preparing, and only then I will eat it. Why you have to be very smart to do that?
It's not so.
Because it's a whole plan that remove the suspicion. If the father is going to call her, nothing with him. The creepy thing about like she's making it, you know what, in a way, it maybe served the same purpose. He's really sick. Like, why he ask something like this? Apparently it's really like something is not well with him. And you know, it's capricious. It's like something which you don't expect, but you expect a person maybe who is not even mentally so well.
Maybe this whole
Yeah.
thing of her making the food in front of him, maybe because afterwards, maybe he was the underdog was thinking, afterwards he could say, well, you know, he became very attracted to her because she was so kind. Look, she maybe there was a
I
certain
didn't
thing,
think
you know,
about
How
it.
does that bring
a certain
up?
attraction. I don't know, way to a man's heart.
There is,
He was something, I don't know.
She cares. No, she cared about him, and she treat him so nicely, and she tries so hard.
Yeah.
So for sure, she deserves to be
He
with
got, he got turned on.
It's an interesting idea.
Maybe something to do with it.
It make it more, make it
After he
more
could say, I, you know,
likely.
I
Yeah.
couldn't speak to she did that, I couldn't help it, you know, I mean, whatever.
Such a good cook, I couldn't resist.
וישכב אמנון ויתחל. So he took the advice. ויבוא המלך, by the way, one more comment that I want to make. He said it like, tell your father, תבוא תמר אחותי. You see, even by mentioning this one, he covered his real intention, because it's just a family issue. I want her because she's my sister, and you know, we always were close to each other. So he make a whole plan how to cover it from David and from Tamar. This was why he was chacham meod. He planned the whole plan that eventually worked too well.
Were young women in those days allowed to walk around unattended like that? It doesn't seem like they would have been.
Yeah, it's in the family, it's in the
No,
house.
it doesn't matter. That's not how things were in those days.
It's not out in
You know what? I think that it depends on the social structure, with no question. And the social structure at this time was different. No questions about it. And the way of power inside the family was very different from today. And therefore it's like your question is based on the norms today, where like a woman had a say and can say no also. Apparently what we see here was different kind of relationship, which is not too You know, we think about ourselves like very modern and progressive, but actually, I just saw the movie about Judge Ginsburg.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a good one.
It's really,
It's important one. Because you can see that we think about ourselves as very progressive, but only 50 years ago, the whole world was very different. And it took very courageous and bold people to change the situation. And like very smart and powerful people, they did not even get the whole feminist ideas. I'm not talking about femininity, I'm talking just about the simple, basic rights that today we see them as obvious, but it was not the case less than 50 years ago.
But I'm not saying that, I'm saying that because of how things were then, it would strike me that women would have been very much watched, and you don't go by yourself.
for sure,
You're
yeah.
attended by your handmaidens
Just
and
like
by.
But that's why he made it a family business. It was not someone stranger that she is going to visit. It was just like a family to move from one room that was for the girls to the room of the boys. It was not a big. That's exactly how we portrayed it. It's an internal, simple.
Even with 18 wives and whoever knows how many children all that made, it doesn't seem like it was so casual.
You see, again, if I would be a screenwriter, I would try to explain how it worked. But you know what? The reality is very simple. It worked. No one suspected that something so terrible is going under the surface, which means the plan apparently was well calculated. And the only question that we have to ask is very, very simple. If he was that smart to plan it, how couldn't he see what is going to happen later? You understand the question? You are so smart, you know how to cheat David and Tamar and to cover the whole thing. Couldn't he see that this is going to end up like in such a terrible way? I think that the answer is, in the word, he was chacham me'od. You know, that's part of the problem. He was too smart. And some people, what does it mean to be too smart? What is too smart? Chacham me'od. The me'od here is that sometimes, as I said before, these highly intellectual people, they can see clearly the presence, but they don't understand that everything bears results and there are consequences, and they fail to see them. And the Tanakh itself says something very interesting. When Hannah came to Shiloh to daven for her son, so Eli asked her what she wants. And she said, according to Chazal, "V'natata le'amatcha zera anashim." Give me a normal person. Not too beautiful, not ugly. Not too tall, not too short. Not too smart, not too foolish. Give me someone normal. She knew, she had this sense that sometimes they're too smart, they're too beautiful, just inviting tzors. Normal people think like normal people. People who are not so normal, they think in abnormal ways. And he was very good to see how to plan it, but he failed completely to see the results of it. And you know what, in a great way, that's what happens sometimes in the intellectual that we read. And we are amazed how they failed in their prediction, how they failed in not understanding that this will cause this and this and this. And the answer is, they are very smart, too smart. Yes?
Maybe he was kind of jealous. He was a cousin. His father wasn't the big shot.
Maybe, but I think that he really wanted to help him. And I'll show you that he really did not think that it's going to end so terrible. Like, yes?
But all this planning wasn't known. It was the other guy. What's his name? Jonah.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Yonadav, yeah.
It was his planning.
Right, but you
Do
know,
we
he
know
never
if-
suggested him to go and rape her. He apparently also never completely understood where his cousin comes from. He looked like, you know, he just like, okay, he had a crush, they say today. But he never saw that he's going to rape his sister. And you know what? Apparently, Amnon was very good in hiding. He himself presented, as I say, like, you know, he loves her, he doesn't know what to do because it's a very strange situation. So he told him, you know, hey, I will create the scene where you can come closer to her, and maybe indeed at the end he planned that he will talk to David, and she would agree to it, and everything will end with a beautiful wedding. But it didn't happen because Amnon had a completely different personality. He had the lust and not a love here, and we are going to discuss it in a second. And maybe Yonadav was not aware of it. Because you know what? Sometimes the smart people are not smart emotionally. You know, you need to be like also not only the smart person, the knowledgeable one, the psychologist. You have to feel things. And he failed here. Maybe that's what the Tanakh is telling us. He was chacham meod. But chacham meod does not mean that he had a strong feeling and intuition to understand what happened. And sometimes we see this kind of smart people, geniuses, who emotionally are impaired. And that's what happened here. He was very, very smart, but he failed to see what is going to happen.
In Pasuk Vav is the reason why it refers to David as a melech, but as his refers to his father in Zion and his name in
Yeah.
No, I'm just asking if there's,
So what is the question?
why does it refer to him as a melech? The previous Pasuk it said it was his father. In Pasuk Zion it
Interesting.
refers to David. But this one here where he's planning this out, it didn't say go to the king, it says
You know, it's really interesting because in Pasuk Zayin again it changes to Vaishlach David. He became like a private person. It's interesting. I did not pay attention to it, but it's a very good one because clearly in Pasuk Vav David is described as a king. As a king. Vayavo HaMelech, Vayomer Amnon el HaMelech. So the relationship between Amnon and his father are more like commanding, like a king. Interesting, I did not pay attention to it, but it's a very good point. I'll go to the Mefarshim to see that. Hopefully someone is talking about it. So, Vayomer Amnon el HaMelech, Tavona Tamar achoti. And again, he uses it in a very mild way. My sister. Utelabeb le'inai shtei levivot. It's nice. Telabeb le'inai shtei levivot. I just want latkes. Maybe it was Hanukkah. Who knows? No, it was not Hanukkah because Hanukkah happened many years later. But he just want to latkes. What's the problem? Ve'evre miyada. And I will. Leavrot in Hebrew means also to feed. But it's also here, it's nice because he's sick, so leavri means to feed someone and to become better. Milashon bari. So it's a pun on using a word in two meanings. She will feed me, and as a result, I'll become healthier. Okay?
She will nurse him. She will nurse him.
To
nurse.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting because it's the same idea, right? I didn't think about it. The word nurse is also
Nourish.
nourish. Yeah.
Not nurse, nourish.
Nourish.
Well,
Ah.
both.
But nurse is also, think about it, it's like
It could be
nursing
nurse
and,
nurse
yeah.
and
Okay.
nourish.
I think he said nourish. Whatever he said.
Okay,
he was a very wise guy. He said both.
so now, what is interesting here? Remember the Levivot, the Latkes, is an idea of Amnon. When Yonadav told him, it was not actually Latkes. He said Lechem, he talked about Lechem. what happened, why it was changed from lechem to levivot? It's interesting, no? He instructed him for lechem. He make it already like something like more sophisticated. Leviva, latkes, is more sophisticated than just bread, isn't it? So what happened here?
He doesn't want to take the time to let it.
Exactly. So it takes more time. It takes more time. So she's going to spend more time because lechem. What is lechem? Like you knead
Give a
it and you
piece of
throw it
bread.
to the oven, and after in their lechem is like lafa. You can see here it's like take 5 minutes, but he want the whole thing, to the potato or whatever it is, and then mixing it. And then like the apple sauce or whatever. So this is going to...
How did she do this right before beside him? Didn't she need a kitchen or somewhere to prepare the food?
That's a good question. Apparently he had a kitchenette in the room.
Oh, okay.
Just in case.
Yeah. But there is something really interesting in the word leviva, which is lev, right? And leviva is two hearts, levavchem, right? And if you think about it, it reminds us the pasuk, "Velo taturu acharei levavchem ve'acharei einechem." So leviva is food, but it contains the idea of lev, which I believe somehow, I don't know if it's true or not, I do think that the word love in English comes from the word lev in Hebrew. If you think about it, think about this slogan, I heart New York. What does that mean? I love New York.
Love New York.
Because love and live are connected. So I will not be surprised if it's one of the words like seven, sheva, earth, eretz, that was somehow transformed from Hebrew to English. Maybe, I don't know. But ותלבב לעיניי שתי לביבות ועברם ידיי. You see that's these latkes are dangerous. Not only calorie wise, but so וישלח דוד אל תמר הביתה לאמור לכי נא בית אמנון אחיך ועשי לו הבריאה. So David did not suspect anything. He likes Amnon. Remember, he was the older son. Maybe he will be the next king. So he asked her nicely to go and to help him. ותלך תמר בית אמנון אחיה והוא שוחט, ותיקח את הבצק, ותלוש, ותלבב לעיניו, ותבשל את הלביבות. So apparently it's a little bit different than levivot that we do, which are fried. This is more like cooked. ותיקח את המשרת, the sauce, ותיצוק לפניו. So apparently it's a maple syrup or something, I don't know what they use there in Yerushalayim. וימאן לאכול. He doesn't want to eat. ויאמר אמנון, הוציאו כל איש מעלי. ויצאו כל איש מעלי. Do you remember, by the way, someone who also asked everyone out of the room?
Yosef.
Yosef. Remember when the brothers are coming to Yosef, he asked everyone to leave, right? By the way, another word that we are going to make next year, the connection, is the word vayemaen. Remember what happened with Eshet Potiphar? She asked him, she lured him to have relation with her. Vayemaen, Yosef is refusing. And Chazal, when you read it in Shul, is Vayemaen, you read it in Shalshelet. It was not that easy for him to do the meon. Vayemaen. So the Shalshelet tells you that it was not simple. I mean, it was a great nisayon, and it took him some time until he said no. So, but again, we see already two connections. Yosef sent away his brothers. Yosef is memaen, and the same story here. And think about it. It's about a story about siblings. It's a story about seducing someone, right? ויאמר אמנון אל תמר, אבי הבריאה החדר. So apparently she did it in the kitchen, he could see it, and then he said, bring it here.
Okay, it was in the kitchen.
ותיקח תמר את הלביבות אשר עשתה, ותבא לאמנון אחיה החדרה, and she bring it to the room. ותגש אליו לאכול, ויחזק בה. So now he is holding her. ויאמר לה, בואי שכבי עמי אחותי. He hold her strong, and he remind her that, you know, it can stay in the family. After all, you are אחותי, so listen to me. Let's go to intermission.
No.
No. ותאמר לו, אל אחי, אל תענני. Don't do it to me. כי לא יעשה כן בישראל. No one ever did it. In the family, something like this, it's impossible.
Isn't it more than family? It's like in all of Israel. In other words,
You're right.
she's not even saying that it's incest. That
By the way,
if he wants to be honorable, he'll marry her.
You're right, you're right. We are going to see that she suggests, like, in her distress, see, she talk about 3 issues. Number 1, it's unheard. How can you do something like this? It's a shame on a national level. אל תעשה את הנבלה הזאתי. This is the worst thing that a person can do. So this is about him. ואני, אנה הוליך את חרפתי. This is going to ruin my life. ואתה תהיה כאחד הנבלים בישראל. And it's not only my reputation, it's your reputation as well. And then she suggests to him to actually think rationally. ואתה דבר נא אל המלך, כי לא ימנעני ממך. You know what is the problem here in the whole discussion here? In a situation like this, you cannot be too rational. She tried to convince him rationally. But
And
it's
he
not
was
him talking,
irrational.
it's his lust and hormones and terrible personality. Some people think that by nice words, kind words, reasonable words, you can convince the other one, but many, many times it's simply not working this way. When a person comes with a certain personality, with a certain set of mind, no words in the world are going to convince him. If she would just run away, maybe she couldn't, if she would just scream no with a big N and O, maybe the situation would be different. Problem was that she's talking to a person who cannot listen at this point.
But it seems that she did fight him because it says in English he overpowered her.
You're right.
He forced
You're
her.
right. נכון. ולא אהבה לשמוע בקולה, ויחזק ממנה, ויעניה וישכב אותה. You're right. And maybe when she was talking to him, he himself saw it as a weakness. If she's not fighting strong enough and she has time to talk in a situation like this, maybe somewhere she's convincing herself that nothing is going to happen. Sometimes you don't talk. And you know what? The words here remind us a very famous story in the Torah. The story of Dinah. Let's remember what the brothers told their father. And you know, I brought here a whole chart to compare the 2 cases, but we will do it next time. What does she say? Al ta'aneni. What does it say about Shechem and Dinah? Vaya'aneha. He did it against her will. And then he said, Lo ya'asechem be'Israel. What the brothers are telling Yaakov when he said, wow, you endanger us because now everyone will come. What does he say? ולא יעשכן הכזונה יעשה את אחותינו. No one is doing things like this. And he treat our sister like a harlot? מה פתאום? And the same word, because as we are going to see next week, the Tanakh want to compare the 2 incidents. So next week we are going to compare this, but as I said before, one of the most terrible stories in the Tanakh. Something like this in the house of David. Yes.
It seems strange that David fell for this story,
That he,
that he fell for it.
yeah. Why?
Who's he?
Who said
David.
David? I mean,
he's supposed to be so smart, and he himself had certain experiences that would have made him a little more wily.
Really wake up.
It just seems very strange.
But, you know, really, we know the story, but think about a person who, his son is sick. Why should you think? Honestly, like, normally sick people, if you believe them, and maybe that's a problem, to be too naive,
That's it.
but like sick people don't think about too much sex. Let's put it very simple. Well, that's exactly was a great plan here. He is going to be sick. Sick people, you have empathy towards. You don't start, ooh, he's sick. Who knows what's going on in his mind? No, on the contrary. Like he's sick, he needs help, he needs my empathy, and David is eager to give him. We saw that David was a very kind person. Remember the Amaleki who is sick, and David is going out of his way to give him food and water and to take him with him.
But it's
So
not,
his
it's
own
been
son?
going on for a
Yeah.
while because he got thin already.
Yeah,
And on
right.
the other hand,
But if you were that sick, then the cure could not possibly be a couple of electives.
Yeah.
yeah, but when he also said,
Her mother.
If it's a sister, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, that something's gonna
She must
happen.
have been running
And she
around.
said, you know what, she said herself, no one's ever done this. Like, it's never happened.
She did not suspect anything. Like
She herself.
it was well conducted. The whole
The
story
women didn't
was.
have a say in anything. It's not whether she suspected. If her father said, stand on your head and spit nickels, she'd have to.
Because you read too many newspapers, and indeed you know about cases like this. But in their time, something like this was unheard.
but why only, was it Tamar that should come? He's feeling ill.
No, no.
Oh, he needs a visitor. He came. It could
Hey,
have
she
been,
was beautiful.
it could have been anyone but Tamar in that house with all those people. Why Tamar?
We'll find out next week.